Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be playing some more Brawl with an all too familiar commander. It's going to be a Yarok deck, and this one's going to be built around a fair few M21 cards, or an M21 strategy at the very least, which is mill. So, I really like Yarok. He sees quite a lot of play, but I actually feel like there's a lot of different ways you could play around with Yarok. You can do kind of a tempo strategy. You can do a mill strategy, which is what we're going to be doing today. You can also do kind of a mega ramp deck. There's so much you can actually do with Yarok, so I'm never really bored of seeing this particular card, so hopefully you guys aren't too. But let's get into what he does, shall we? 5 mana for a 3/5 with Death Touch and Lifelink. Says if a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So effectively, what it is, in not quite the literal sense, is if an enter the battlefield ability happens, it happens twice as many times. It's going to happen an additional time, essentially. So, an example is Gilded Goose. When Gilded Goose enters the battlefield, it makes a food token. If Yarok is in play, it makes 2 food tokens. So we can double up that, effectively. There's a lot of things that are effectively double, while also not necessarily being double. For example, if we've got a Spark Double, we can Spark Double up our commander, which gives us an extra copy of that passive ability. That doesn't mean that we go from 1 to 2 and then 2 to 4. We actually go from 2 to 3, because it's only an additional time. So it is kind of pseudo-doubled, but not really. So I might say doubled occasionally, but I don't necessarily mean it. Let's put it that way. So Sparky D on Yarok is usually what we want right there. New cards from the format of M21, though, are going to be things like Teferi's Tutelage, a 3 mana enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, it draws a card and discards a card. And whenever you draw a card, your opponent mills 2 cards. So one thing that Yarok does extremely well is draw cards. No one quite draws cards like Yarok does. So we're going to be leveraging that a little bit in a mill strategy. So Teferi's Tutelage, when we're drawing cards, our opponent's milling 2. So as long as we've got a deck that is half the size of our opponent's, then we're going to be able to mill them over, which is pretty fun. We've got a lot of really fun synergies with this card, though, and it's definitely not the only way we can win. We can win in 3 different ways, really. One of them being the mill of our opponent, definitely. The other being combat damage, straight up combat damage. We've got some pretty decent creatures in here. We've got things like Voracious Hydra, which can double the amount of counters that are on it. We can double and then double again with a double Yarok trigger. We've got things like Massacre Worm, a 6/5 for 6. When a creature enters the battlefield, your opponent's control get -2/-2. Doubled up, that's -4/-4. And whenever a creature an opponent control dies, that player loses 2 life. So, yeah, we can wipe our opponent's board and potentially just kill them on that trigger alone. We've got things like the Vraska ult as well, the -9. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. It's not too hard to get there. But mostly what we're going to be doing, since we've got lots of card draw in this deck, we're going to be trying to self-mill primarily. So instead of the Teferi's Tutelage win con, we're actually going to be going for more of a Thassa's Oracle and a Jace Wielder of Mysteries win con. Jace, specifically on the passive, says if you would draw a card while your library has no cards in it, you win the game instead. So if we've got 0 cards, we win. Same thing kind of goes for Thassa's Oracle, except for this one's based off of Devotion. If your Devotion, when this enters, is greater than or equal to the size of your deck, then you win the game that way. So if we've got 0 cards in our deck, then Devotion to 0 will win us the game, which is pretty cool. So we can respond to removal in that way. So, self-mill is on the cards. How are we going to self-mill? Well, we've got lots of ways of drawing cards, as we mentioned. We've got things like the new Llanowar Visionary, which is a mana dork that draws a card, which is 2 with Yarok. And mostly as well, and this is where we really go insane, is with Teferi's Ageless Insight. 4 mana, legendary enchantment. If you would draw a card, except for the first one you draw in each of your draw steps, draw 2 cards instead. So it's basically a Yarok of card draw. And this is where the deck gets very crazy. So, if we would draw a card, except for in our draw step, or our first draw anyway, then we would draw 2 cards, which is effectively double. So we've got things like the Great Henge, which says whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield, you draw a card. Now, if the Great Henge is out with Yarok, that means Yarok is drawing 2 cards for every creature and putting a +1/+1 counter on twice over, which is awesome. If we've got Teferi's Ageless Insight, that means that the Great Henge is drawing 4 cards every single time a creature enters the battlefield. That could include an Uro, which draws on its own as well. Uro entering the battlefield makes you gain 3 life and draw a card, so with the Ageless Insight, that's 2. With Yarok, that is 4. We've also got the Guardian Project in here, and obviously green auto-include whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield. If it doesn't have the same name as another creature you control, which is mostly going to be the case, the only exception is Spark Double, because it will gain the same name as another creature, then you would draw a card, which is 2 with the Teferi's Ageless Insight. So we've got a metric ton of different ways of drawing cards. We've even got Baron in here that says if a permanent was put into your hand from the battlefield this turn, you draw a card. We've got Portal of Sanctuary, so we can keep bouncing our spells. So we can double up on Barons. We can double up on Risen Reef triggers, which goes really well with Yaroks, because it cares about the elemental side of things. This one doesn't actually draw you a card, so it won't synergize with the Ageless Insight in the same way. However, this one actually, every card it puts into your hand, if it's a land, you get to put it into the battlefield, which is nice ramp, and honestly, it's a Yarok auto-include. If you're not including this card in your deck, you're making a horrific error. And as far as the combat damage win con is concerned, we do also have Field of the Dead in here, because it's just too easy for us to enable. Field of the Dead says whenever you have a land enter the battlefield under your control, if you control 7 or more lands with different names, then you create a 2/2 zombie. So we get double triggers off of lands entering the battlefield with Yarok. Same thing kind of goes for Radiant Fountain. We gain 4 life with Yarok. With our Thornwood Falls, we gain 2 life with Yarok. Our Temples, we scry 1 twice with Yarok. So all of our lands really synergize really nicely, so it made no sense for me not to include the Field of Dead, since we can enable it so easily. And we have many ways of putting lands into play as well in that ramp kind of synergy. So yeah, that's essentially the deck. Hopefully you enjoy the list. If you do, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe for some more Brawl content in the future. This one is a doozy. The original version that I built was not based off of Self-Mill, and it honestly didn't do very well, so that's why I've got this little 2 here, which, you know, should probably change that up. But yeah, anyway, if you do enjoy, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe. You know the drill at this point, and I will see you in the games. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button down below, or check out the Patreon link in the description. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Alrighty then, let's have a look-see. We have no green mana in an otherwise good-looking hand. We could take our chances and just rely on Murderous Rider and Eliminate. I don't think that's necessarily a bad idea. Yeah, let's go for it. Up against Corvold, Fey Curse King, and immediately we get ourselves our green mana, so never punished. 5 mana for a 4/4 with flying. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, you sacrifice another permanent. Whenever you sacrifice a permanent, put a 1/1 counter on Corvold and draw a card. So you really want to be leveraging that wherever possible. I need to eliminate this Dreadhorde Butcher very quickly. And so that is what I shall do. But we're going to do it on our opponent's turn, just in case they play something pre-combat that is significantly worse. They went straight to combat, though, so they're messing with me. Gruul Guildgate and Order of Midnight. Okay. So I would like to go with... What would I like to go with? I could hold up and Murderous Rider. I don't think losing 2 life is worth doing that, though. So I think I'll just go with my tapped Watery Grave and pass, and then we'll Fabled Passage with an untapped land for the green there.
Don't start any fires without me.
So that would be cool to kill, for sure. I'm going to turn Korvold into a 3-3, I think. Most likely. The thing is, though, with Chandra, I think she needs answering immediately. Yeah, let's thin for the forest here. So that Agaran Brig comes into play untapped. I think she needs killing because Korvold will have tokens to sacrifice. So we'll wait for our opponent to crack, and then we'll go for a Chandra kill. Alright. So now if they want to play Korvold, they're going to have to sack the Order of Midnight or a land. And then we can Kenrith's Transformation the Korvold. If that's what they want to go with. Yeah, they're going to attack and then eat the Order of Midnight. Which is perfectly fine. Ooh, Baron. Baron's very good. Baron plus Leafkin Druid seems pretty decent to me. Yeah, let's bounce Korvold. So now if they want to play him again, they'll have to either play something first or sack a land. Sacking lands is very, very bad for them a lot of the time, especially in the early game. Specifically in the early game. Because it means if I kill Korvold, then the commander tax is more substantial, which is why you don't see this card too often. So yeah, it looks like they want to play a 1-drop, maybe the little imp devil thing. Knight of the Ebon Legion's going to be their choice, actually. And then play Korvold. Do they trust that I can not flicker this Baron, though? Ooh, going after the lands. Interesting. 1, 2, 3. +1. Yeah, I can portal and bounce with Baron. Actually draw a card off of it as well. That's filthy. That is a filthy top deck. So bounce Baron. A creature has left the... Oh, a permanent, sorry, has left the battlefield this turn under my control. We're just going to bounce Korvold again. So Baron's end step trigger is going to trigger off of himself leaving. So we get to draw cards. And we get to do that every turn. So they'll play a land. They'll tax themselves once again, most likely. We might eventually have to pivot off of that, though. Well... Pivot if Bedevil is anything to go by. But also because our opponent does have this Knight of the Ebon Legion that can start picking at us. Yeah, I'm going to let you activate if you really want to. Cauldron Familiar is a great sack option for them. So this would leave me with 2 mana. Got nothing for the Find Finality. It's -4/-4. It's a weird one. I think we still go with the Yarok. And we're just going to have to play our Evolving Wilds. Crack it for a basic we don't have, which is an island. In case we have Field of the Dead, we now have it online. And yeah, we're going to have to pass here. Get a double Voracious Hydra, maybe. Leaving up enough for the Kenrith's Transformation if they have removal in response. They've got Cavalier of Night. Goodbye, Yarok. Command Zone, please. I could see actually Graveyard, because the Find Finality is actually useful there. But we're going to go with Yarok. With some floating mana. Gain 4 life off the Radiant Fountain, which is really useful with a deck that's playing Cat combo. And then we're going to Transformation the Cavalier of Night. So if it does die eventually, it's not going to give our opponent any creatures back. And Jace Wielder of Mysteries is not a bad target at all. Alright. So yeah, now Ooh, got Eternal Bond too. Haven't seen you in a while. Just gonna sack the Cavalier. Doesn't have a death trigger because we removed that. And we've got Jace, Wielder of Mysteries. I think we want to just play Jace. Jace, mill them. Draw a card. I think we're still going to try and mill them. Play a land. We're holding Voracious Hydra for no good reason, I think. So we want to X5 the Voracious Hydra. Okay, and this one is going to be the fight. And then this one's going to be the double counters. So it's going to stack them from last to first, by the way. So you always want to do the one thing you want to end the stack with first, which is what we did there. I'm going to swing in with the Baron as well. If they want to kill my Hydra and swing at the Jace, that's fine by me. Gilded Goose. Gives them a pretty decent Corvold play there, but they're not going to go with it. They're actually going to set up a really good finality. And sacks the food to bring back the cats. Yep, this finality is filthy. The Great Henge. Seems pretty good. We'll draw 2 cards off of every creature that enters. So they emptied their hand and did virtually nothing. We were going to Great Henge. I think we were going to swing first with the Voracious Hydra. Yeah, I don't know if it makes a great deal of difference either way, but Great Henge, swing with the Hydra for the trample damage, see if how many things they block with. If they block with a sufficient amount, then I don't have to finality. They're likely to block with Yarok anyway, so he's not going to get any damage in our opponent's face, which is the ideal scenario there. And then once we've finalited, assuming that we have to, we just play our Gilded Geese out, our Murderous Riders out, and basically flood our hand with card draw and win the game. So, pretty good. Pretty good. Alrighty then, we are in, and we're up against someone who doesn't like Agent of Treachery, a fellow kindred spirit, someone playing Tristani. I don't know if I can keep this hand, to be honest. It doesn't really do anything, so I'm going to take the free mull. I think with a hand like that, you really want like early game ramp at least. This looks very similar. I feel like I say that a lot these days, which is not great, but... this one... What do you say about this one? This one's not that good, is it? No, got to take the mull on that one. Alright, this is a little better. Got the Kenris transformation for the Tristani, and turn into a 3-3 without a Lord effect. We've got the Extinction event, which seems pretty good. I'm going to put the Great Henge to the bottom, since we have no creatures right now. And yeah, lead off with the Temple of Mystery. Definitely do not want the Portal of Sanctuary. Alright, our opponent is playing Tristani, Discordant, Hater of Agent of Treachery, 5 mana 1/4. Other creatures you control get +1/+1, and when it enters the battlefield, you create 2 1/1 white soldier creature tokens with lifelink. And at the beginning of the end step, each player gains control of all creatures they own. So if Agent of Treachery stole a creature, you get it right on back. I imagine that's not the literal reason why they chose their commander, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't convinced that it's partly the reason. Alright, just taking 1 and proliferate nothing. Well, we got the Radiant Fountain to gain some life, and we'll go with the Guardian Project. If we draw a land, then we get to draw 2 off of Yarok, which is a pretty decent payoff. Idyllic Grange. Never see anyone play this card. I personally think it's quite bad. Conclave Tribunal, though. It's very annoying, as is more tap lands. We're going to go with the swamp. So we have our Murderous Rider open. And pass the turn. I'm guessing next turn's going to be Tristani. It's going to be Biogenic Ooze. Ooh. Zzz. So I'm likely going to have to name... That's a weird one, because I could name Odds and get rid of the Biogenic Ooze and the Tristani. Because I'm assuming that's what they want to do next turn. Or I could name Evens and get rid of the token, the Apparition, and the Tristani tokens, and keep my Yarok in play. I can't name Odds and play my Yarok, though. I'm going to try naming Evens. I think it might be a bad play. But I'm going to rely on Evens plus Transformation on Tristani being a good move here. You got more answers to my Yarok? Or are they just going to make more tokens? More tokens, fine. I'm just going to proliferate the Ooze. It's pretty good. Alright, well, if that's the case, I might just have to Spark double Leafkin Druid, if we're going to be like that. Spark double, sorry, has the same mana cost as the Yarok copy as well, so I'm still a little bit safe. Ugin, who cannot be effed. Ticking down. Yep. Alright. Yeah, I'm gonna lose this anyway by naming Evens. There's Jace. Alright, so we're gonna have to go and name Even. Get rid of the tokens. And force a block, I think, to get rid of the Eugene. I mean, perhaps they let this go. I could see why they would want to. They could rebuild with their tokens. I think this game has just lined up too badly for us, though. If I'm honest, I think we can't really proceed from here in a meaningful way. So do I turn Biogenic Ooze into an 8/8 that cannot create tokens and draw 2? I think I probably have to. I probably have to. Field of the Dead's a good hit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So any unique land here will give us what we need. They've got the hero. If they've got a land, then they can Tristani, but they haven't. They've got Conclave Cavalier. Alright. Thassa's Oracle without double blue. Yeah, I hate to see it. Yeah, we're just going to have to pass the turn here and hold open our removal spells, go for an Eat to Extinction. I'd be happy for an untapped land of pretty much any unique value. Renata into Amara. This is getting out of hand, not going to lie. I don't think we're killing the hero of Precinct 1 here, though. We're probably going to have to just eat the Biogenic Ooze. Yeah. Hate to have committed to a card only to kill it, but it is what it is. And we have to hold Murderous Rider for the Tristani. There's no ifs or buts about that one, I think. What about Thassa's Oracle for double 2 devotion? Gives me a blocker. We've got the Jace as an alternative, and we can eventually just bounce this to redo its trigger. I think we probably have to. I need a good draw, and we're not going to get it by hoping for top decks. Meteor Golem's pretty decent. Yeah, I don't mind Meteor Golem, actually. Oh, Massacre Worm. Yeah, let's have Massacre Worm, shall we, instead? That seems pretty good. Alright, Murderous Rider is here solely so that we don't die. And, yeah, our opponent could very much get themselves killed here if they're not careful. Here comes Tristani. It's going to make more tokens for the Massacre Worm. And I'm all for it. So we do have to kill Tristani, because it's a 2/5 and it needs to die. But we can alternatively hold off on such plays if I deem my life total to be adequate by the end of this combat step. Because Tristani on its own isn't going to do a great deal if they've got no creatures. Which is, it's going to be pretty funny. Although if I kill it, they have... Oh no, the Conclave Cavalier isn't going to do what I want it to do. It's going to make 2 3/3s if I make it a 4/4, so they actually get some creatures left over anyway. Let's just do Massacre Worm as it is. -4/-4, and any creatures dying makes our opponent lose 2 life. Oh yeah. You're at 7. Bye, opponent. Goodbye. Oh, Massacre Worm. You're so good. I love you. So they're at 7. We have to swing. They're basically forced to block with everything, which includes their Conclave Cavalier and their Tristanis. Yeah, they just lose too much here and they don't come back from it. God, this card. So good. So good. Alrighty then, we're in, and our opponent's playing Ashiok Nightmare Muse. 5 mana, 5 loyalty Planeswalker. When Ashiok ticks up for 1, you make a 2/3 blue and black Nightmare creature token with whenever this creature attacks or blocks, each opponent exiles the top 2 cards of their library. So it could be a mill deck. We're going to keep this hand, by the way. It looks pretty decent. Lack of blue is disturbing, but we do have the Paradise Druid for that. The -3 allows you to return a non-land permanent to its owner's hand, and then that player exiles a card from their hand. Blue mana! Woo! Gonna lead off with that. And then the -7, which is extremely easy to get to, though not so easy to enable. You may cast up to 3 spells from among face-up cards your opponents own from exile, which your Nightmare tokens can fuel. And then you may play them without paying their mana cost. Alright, so is it going to be Dimir Control or Mill? It can pretty much be any of them. We're going to go with Castle Garenbrig. Zagoth Triumph is a forest, so it will come into play untapped. And then let's get down the Paradise Druid. I'm expecting a lot of things to die here, to be honest. And to be countered. In this case, it looks like it's going to get countered. Teferi's Ageless Insight is very good as an early game play, but it gets bounced so easily with Ashiok. And we only really... Well, we have a fair few ways of enabling it, I suppose. So if it got neutralized or sabotaged, would I care? I don't think I'd care. And I don't care if Paradise Druid dies either. Because I've got the Llanowar Visionary plus Temple of Mystery. So if this dies and this resolves, I've got the draw 2 here. Yeah, sure. So now my next mana dork is a draw 2. Or it eats a counter. I'm fine with both, to be honest. Overgrown Tomb. Alright, so let's set up the top card. I want to make sure that I've got at least something that appears to be good. I don't know if Command Tower is necessary. We'll go with Llanowar Visionary to draw a card. I'll draw 2 cards, sorry. Oh yeah. Wolfwiller Haven's not bad. If we can fill our hand up with crap, then Ashiok's minus ability is not going to be the worst. Got Dirge Bat. Could mean that they've got the Octopus to make it draw cards and also kill the Visionary. I'd love to have an answer for it. Yep, Sea Dasher Octopus. Quite the combo. Goodbye, Llanowar Visionary. Still got that double blue up, and I don't think we've given them something that they feel is worth countering yet. Let's bring up our deck tracker again. I need a removal for the Dirge Bat is what I need. Thassa's Oracle. Alright, so let's go with green, Wolfwiller Haven on the swamp. What's the bottom of our deck look like? It's got a command tower, so we're not really thinning in a useful way. This is 4 mana, so drawing an eliminate wouldn't be that good. Kenris transformation would be pretty decent. We're going to have to assume that whatever we play gets countered anyway. I think we just play Evolving Wilds. Let's grab an island. And let's just do Omen of the Sea. Scry 2, draw 2. Don't want either of them. Portal and Arcane Signet are not very good draws. Gonna put it out there. Alright, so they're getting for 3 and draw a card. Yeah, it's just Demir flash tempo at the moment. Which normally would be a horrifically annoying matchup. But to be honest, haven't seen this matchup before, so we're going to give it the benefit of the doubt. We're going to pretend it's good. Alright. Go, Gadget, Solemn. This might eat a counterspell. It does not. Nothing will eat a counterspell on our opponent's watch. We would like a forest. Play an Arcane Signet. Tap land and pass. Flash. No? No flash? I would like to drown my opponent in card advantage. That's really the thing I want most. Acolyte of Affliction does get me back some card advantage. Okay, get in for 3, draw a card. I'm sure they're just digging for Agent of Treachery because they know how much I love it. Like, what is it? Is it really worth playing if it's not Agent of Treachery? Alright, let's go with Acolyte. Let's see if we can get back our Elvish Llanowar Visionary of Power. Astrophy. I'm just going to get rid of the Llanowar Visionary. And draw 2. Extinction Event's pretty decent, actually. If that doesn't eat a counterspell, I don't know what will. A name Even. It doesn't really make me feel too great, to be honest. Alright, get in with Solemn. Yep, rinse and repeat. They've done nothing but this for pretty much the entirety of the game. Even the dog doesn't like it. Timoret, chosen from death. Sure. Totally fine. Huh, massacre worm. What does one do now? If I did this... I think we want to lead with Risen Reef first. They're always holding up that counter magic. I think they're just waiting on me to play my Yarok, to be honest, so if I can just keep playing things that are not Yarok, might be in a decent situation. Alternatively, it's just removal. Murderous Rider, that's very good. Oh, the way it's tapped the mana. Wait, I've tapped the mana, really. Makes it so I can't play Murderous Rider. And 2, 3... 2... Yeah, it's a weird one. Let's just throw him out. Let's get out there. Eat some counter magic. There we go. Mil Uro. Ah, there was a really good card that just went into the trash then. That's annoying. Actually, no, we do have Murderous Rider open, don't we? We're gonna upkeep you. No attacks. Pass. So we got the Elvish Llanowar Visionary. So gonna keep the graveyard in check. I really would like them to, because it taps them out, and then we get to kill the Dirge Bat. Here we go. So they get to gain 2. And now they get to do whatever they want. They don't have that tempo swing anymore. We'll see what that means to them. Elspeth's Nightmare. Destroy a creature with power 2 or less. Gonna go after the Risen Reef. Okay. And passes. We got a Baron. I guess we're gonna have to do Baron. Although Vraska minus isn't too bad either. Yeah, let's get Vraska out there. I want to get basically non-creatures that they might want to take with Elspeth's Nightmare out of here. We got the Sinister Sabotage to do its thing. So that opens up a Yarok play, I think. Yeah, sure. And I guess we might as well swing. If they block Solemn, I draw 2. I'm a little afraid of an extinction event of their own, so committing less to this board state would be ideal for me. Yep, I will draw 2. The Great Henge and Casualties of War. Yeah, there's too many good options for them now. They can't possibly take one that I can't just pivot over to the next, which is great. So I expect them to probably hit the rope on this one. Although I could see a pretty easy Casualties of War. Because we have land enchantment creature right now. Epic downfall on Yarok. Sure. Command zone. Oh, we're gonna be here all day, I can tell you that. 37 to my 27. Good lord. Down to 10. That is a Risen Reef and a Solemn Simulacrum. Let's get in for a little bit of damage. My graveyard's going to get exiled, so I might want them back. I don't think I'm going to use a board wipe, so let's just get these guys back. Can exile in response, I suppose, with Timoret. It's up to you. It's going away anyway. Honestly, don't mind either way. Devious cover-up. Put all the worst cards they've played so far back into their deck. Great. Fantastic. This leaves me with 1 mana. If I did Garen Brig, it wouldn't leave me with enough to do what I need to do, which is play Baron afterwards. Which is annoying. That's more like it. Let's play the Great Henge. There, I can play Baron. Do some drawing, do some bouncing. I've played this one a little bit sloppy. I'll happily admit that. This has been a sloppy game of Magic the Gathering. Temple of Deceit. Bottom that. 24 cards left. We've got the Thassa's Oracle, and I'm sure we can get to the Jace easily enough. It's just a matter of getting it through our opponent's endless counterspells. It's entirely possible that Mill is one of their win cons of choice and it won't work for us. Okay. Ritual of Soot. Knew something like that was going to come eventually. But I like my position, to be honest. Midnight Clock. Start that ticking. They got the 2 mana, so we're going to assume they've got something like Tail's End. Let's go with Uro. Do a lot of drawing. Make sure to put the Great Henge first, so we get to draw a card. In case we want to put a tap land into play or something like that. Good lord. Let's do a Dismal Backwater, I suppose. Got 19 cards left. Oh, we're getting there, alright. Let's play Yarok, I suppose. Tails End it. No. Wow. Okay, draw 2. Let's actually draw 4. Oh my god, we're gonna die. We're gonna die, chat. Let's go and scry. We want to find Jace. So that I have... That's not bad either, though. Alternative win con. Let's just go for combat damage. Fiddle Dead seems pretty difficult for them to deal with. It's definitely not something they can counter. So I suppose I do want to consider winning through that way. Discard. Kenris Transformation. Guardian Project. Portal. Massacre Worm. $15 cards left. Assuming they've got perfect answers. 15 cards might not be enough. That's a perfect answer. Make me sack.
Love a good death wail.
8 cards so we can Uro. And build up a nice board of zombies that way. Yeah, let's play Yarok again, see if they've got more counter magic. They do not. Okay, so we draw. See if they got more removal. They do not. Oh my god. Field of the Dead. I've got to be very careful here. Because I could very easily die if I'm not careful. Already discarding an excess amount of lands. Got a devotion of 6 on the Thassa's Oracle. 4, 5 mana to work with now. I think we'll do Gift of Paradise on... Oh god. I don't want to deck myself. It's funny there. It's funny there. I'm nervous. I kind of want to put the Leafkin Druid out, but it'll draw me 4 cards. Which might be okay. Because we'll draw both Thassa and Jace, most likely. Our opponent will have to answer it all. I don't know if this is right. Oh, this is making me nervous. Alright, draw 4. Sparky D to Fairy's Tutelage. Got 6 cards left. Oh man. Oh, thank goodness. Yes, please do that. Absolutely kill my Yarok. I want you to. It's making me very nervous. Let's get rid of Jungle Hollow, Extinction Event at this point. Thassa's probably not necessary. Vantress, probably not very necessary. Definitely not Teferi's Tutelage. Okay. We got 2 unknowns. I've got 6 cards that I need to go deep into. So we go for Thassa's Oracle first, because it will draw us 4 cards and leave us on 1 card. So we Thassa's Oracle, Spark double the Thassa's Oracle if that comes up, or we play Jace. If neither of those work, if they've got answers to all of it, which they've got a Locthwain for an additional draw now. So they need that to be an answer and the card on top to be an answer, otherwise they lose.
Looks like a fun new toy.
I believe that's the scenario we're presenting our opponent. Atris. Okay, so first and foremost, Thassa's Oracle. Draw 4, leave us with 1 card in our deck. Got a devotion of 5. Oh my god. Alright. Yeah, so that wasn't an answer. If that was an answer and they killed the Thassa's Oracle, we would still have the devotion greater than the size of our deck. But assuming that they can maybe Tails End the trigger, I don't know, something like that. Then we've also got Jace, who will tick up, mill the last card over, and then we can't draw a card, and we win the game that way. And there's basically no way that they can do that. let's assume they've got like a 3 mana counter spell. So they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. They have to use 4 of it in order to draw their next card. So they need a 2 mana answer to Jace, which doesn't really exist. In fact, I don't think it exists at all, to be honest. Brazen Burrow wouldn't do it because the... Ooh, actually, would Brazen Burrow do it? Because we wouldn't have the passive anymore, which is really what does the job. But yeah, that was a very slow, very grindy game, very sloppy from me, so I do apologize for the misplays that I made. It was a weird one to navigate, a little tilting at times when non-stop counter spells end up happening, but yeah, we managed to get there, and it's pretty sweet overall. Alright guys, well, that is going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you've enjoyed. If you have, then make sure to hit that like button and subscribe as well for more Brawl content in the future, excuse me. And if you want to see more content like this, then hitting that bell icon is also extremely useful, because it allows you to get notifications when my videos go live. But other than that, hope you've all enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.